Welcome to the Short Term Podcast. I'm your host, Vernon Corum. I'm thrilled to be here with you today from the Foundation Mortgage Office in beautiful East Tennessee. I want to thank Nick and Megan Galbraith for their hospitality and allowing us to use their offices to record our show. Most people know me as the Short Term Pro, but I'm also a licensed realtor for LPT Realty. I'm licensed in vacation rental management. I'm the founder of staycating.com. I'm licensed in the state of Tennessee if you need any help in Tennessee. I assist clients and consultants all over the world as a business advisor for Jetstream's tech company. We're developing a full property management system for real estate agents to make a nice residual income, marketing, managing, and monetizing short-term rentals. My community giveback is to serve as executive director and president and advisor for student-focused sports and education nonprofits from ages 4 to 24. My team locally provides coaching, connecting, and trying to create opportunities for investors and short-term rental folks to get together in rooms and watch podcasts and get trained to be better and better at the investment game. Mostly, I love being a husband. I'm the husband of wife Jeanette. I have 3 sons, Bryce, Jake, and Seth, and I get to be blessed to be the caretaker and have 3 great dogs that are my fur babies. That is Zelda, Winnie, and Coda. I have 10 core values that I live my life by. That includes helping others be successful. Today, I want to talk less about me and I want to talk about my guest. Today, my guest is Al Munsey. Al, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm an insurance agent, while I'm more of a broker because, I have several insurance carriers that I work with banks, giving people options and stuff, because, if you're just doing 1 or 2, insurance carriers, you really don't have a whole lot of options. So your resources to help people, is limited,
Right.
And that's the reason I got into the business because I want to help.
Okay.
And I felt that I could only help by being able to offer several options.
So basically, you're not like the traditional carrier. We won't mention any names or because we don't have any sponsorships, but you all offer multiple different companies. Right. So basically, as a broker, you set up a lot of offices in the area and you build that out. But on top of that, you're also offering multiple property and casualty company options.
Right.
Okay, great. All right. I know there's all kinds of different types of insurance coverage. Can you explain a little bit about what property and casualty and what you kind of do, what that entails? Tell us a little bit more about what that is.
So property and casualty, as most call it P&C, it deals with, with your property, home, auto, commercial, and that's, one of the reasons we're here today is to talk about the rental side, commercial side, so, and that's what it deals with, all aspects of commercial property, commercial auto, liability, general liability, things of that nature.
Okay. Let's pretend for a moment that I'm a brand new investor.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue what I'm doing. I've got my home and auto underneath my local guy, that brings me donuts and stuff to my office.
Yeah. I
got that guy, but I'm moving into a new market. Let's say we're moving into the East Tennessee market where we are. What would be a typical conversation, or what should we be looking for as a new investor? What are some questions I would need to be asking you and your agents? What are some general questions that we should have?
Well, if you're coming into the area, anywhere, you want to look at, you're assessing, you're going to do like a risk assessment, when you're going to, start a business or have a investment property. And for whatever reason, the investment property is for, if you're going to do like short-term rental or you're going to do vacation rental, what have you, you want to make sure that, you're getting probably a very good geographical area. And what I mean by that is, the crime rates in certain areas, that has a lot to do with it, because you're going to want to make sure you have, theft and vandalism coverage, So, you want to look at that. And then like certain areas, what are they prone to, like weather related, up in the mountains and stuff. There's a lot of wind, and, we know a few years back, they had the big fires up there in the Smoky Mountain area, and a lot of cabins, rentals and stuff, and, even lives were lost.
Yeah, lives were lost. A lot of property was lost. And I think a lot of people lost their investments too because they were not properly covered. We were just recently hit with a bunch of tornadoes and some storms around here. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about like the process that goes on with that. I said sometimes people kind of look at you guys a little bit, like an insurance agent and that sort of thing. They look at you as like, well, we pay all this money out and then we want to make a claim. Tell me a little bit about why it's important to have that coverage, and especially in situations like we just had here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your business is your livelihood, and if you don't have the right coverage for that stuff, I mean, there's more aspects to, getting commercial coverage, for rental or business. You also want to make sure that you have coverage on it for loss of income, like if you have a business and a tornado comes through and it tears it up, and you have to be able to, close down for, however long, whether it might be weeks, months, days, whatever, that business is going to be losing income, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we can give you coverage and we can put an endorsement on the policy where we can help, offset that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you never know when a tornado is going to happen. I mean, here in the area, we might see one, maybe two a year, if that. I mean, there might be years where, we just get some strong storms and we don't have a tornado. And I think, I don't know, maybe this is like, we've had one really this year,
Right.
and I don't know if we had one last year or not, but
Sure.
it's kind of a hit or miss thing in this area, the tornadoes and stuff. If it's severe weather, we're real prone to that, strong storms.
Sure.
And those are things you got to look at,
Mm-hmm. Right, for sure. So, when you're taking in consideration, I like that you keep bringing up that being a short-term rental investor is a business.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to treat it as such. So if I'm going to bring you my homeowner's policy and I say, hey, can we just throw an umbrella on top of that, or what can we do? Tell me a little bit about that process. What does that look like? Is it okay if we do it that way, or is there a better way? Is there a better way to do that if we're looking at a short-term rental?
You talking about personalized umbrella, or are you talking about
like if we're going to treat it like a business?
Okay.
We're going to get an LLC. We're going to set everything up. We're going to treat it like a business. So what's the best way to handle that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to an umbrella, which I always advise, especially if you're gonna have a commercial investment or something like that, certain property coverages and stuff, they have limits. All insurance carriers have limits on what they'll protect as far as on each property. Then you have your umbrella policy, which gives you that extra layer of protection. It might be a couple $1 million more. Protection, because when you think about it, here's a good way to think about it. Everybody knows what full coverage is for auto insurance, right? Well, there's no such thing as full coverage. That's the thing, because all insurance coverages have limits. And that's the same thing for commercial, or in personal property. It's all the same thing. There's no such thing as full coverage for anything.
Sure.
Because your limits, maybe it's $500,000. You have your liability limits.
Okay.
But in commercial side, these commercial properties, a lot of them is worth millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
More.
A lot of them also have amenities like fire pits, hot tubs, pools, and that sort of thing. So if I'm a new investor, obviously I want to be protected against the risk, the risk and the liability of that. But I was down in Orlando last year and there was hurricanes, and I saw some of the devastation when I was down there. It actually came through while I was down there, and we stayed put. We were fine, but I saw a lot of loss of property damage, like just erosion of the beach, and just basically the back of properties they just fell off into the, down the hill or whatever, and just were washed away. And, it seems to me the better time to have that conversation is early on instead of waiting. And I think we always talk about due diligence with all of our clients, and we always talk about making sure that they do a risk assessment. When you're looking at what we're doing, I mean, there's also local regulations too, like the HOAs, your local municipalities have regulations. They may require extra things like that to get the best liability protection. Why should this person have this conversation with you besides the liability issues? I mean, I know it's to be educated. Why would a new investor, maybe even want to get another property valuation? I know they get some of their own valuations done. There's inspections done and all that. But I mean, you guys are really where I like to call the boots on the ground, where the rubber really meets the road.
Yeah.
That's where you guys are. So explain why it's important to make sure that they have a good property valuation and process too as well.
Yeah. It's always a good idea to have a good property valuation. In the insurance industry right now, overall, a lot of the insurance carriers, they're going through issues just like any industry is right now. And it's kind of shifted a little bit, heavy to the insurance side right now. One carrier may be, more strict on maybe like the structure of the, dwelling or building itself, while one might be more strict. Well, they're all strict on the roof, but, Yeah. Basically that's the thing. You want to make sure that you have this conversation with an agent, so they can kind of give you a little insight on, what is the most important to each particular carrier, and what they're looking for. You could sign someone up and say, well, we'll just kind of slide this over, and not really look at, this part of the property, But if they get an inspector out there, they're going to go out there, they're going to look at it, and then in 30 days, maybe 2 months later, it's going to get canceled. You don't want that to happen. You don't want it to get canceled. You want to make sure that protection's there, especially if you got a tenant in there or, a guest in there, you want to make sure that coverage is going to be able to, live up to what it's there for.
Right. Those are conversations I have with all the folks that come to me for advice. Again, we don't give investment advice here. We don't give any legal or tax information. Everything here is for entertainment purposes and educational purposes. But as we move forward, I mean, I know when I was in the automotive side of this business for a long time back when I was a body shop guy, and I was out doing I did some adjusting, and I did some inspections for vehicles even after the repairs were done. So on the vehicle side, I kind of understand that certain major carriers may want to do aftermarket parts and that sort of thing. So on a property, does that ever happen in a property as well? Is it like, I know they're going to try to, the insurance company's going to try to save as much money as they can because they're in the money of making business. I mean, you guys are in the money, you're into making money, you got to be profitable. So ultimately, like if I were going through a claims process, and everybody thinks, we talked a little bit about this off camera, but everybody thinks, well, I'm filing a claim and I've been paying these premiums for years and everything. And then they really start looking at, what's going to be paid. Is that really the investor's fault, or is that the insurance company's fault? Or maybe they should have gotten together in the beginning, I'm assuming. But tell me a little bit about why people have that opinion when they go to file a claim. I've been paying for car insurance since I've been 16 years old, and I make a claim and they only want to put aftermarket parts on my car. Sometimes it gets a little bad light, insurance companies, but it's a necessary evil. I have life insurance, car insurance, home insurance, business insurance, on and on and on. It's just a part of life. So tell me a little bit about the claims process and how that kind of works with an investor.
Well, most people don't realize it, but you're actually insurance agent or a broker isn't actually the direct claims adjuster.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's typically another department in any kind of insurance, agency. But we are here to actually kind of be your advocate, whenever a claim is not doing you right, or you feel that they're not doing you right. I'm not going to say they're not doing you right, but when you don't feel that they're doing you right, you're not, being heard, your agent, can reach out to them, and kind of, give them that little extra, motivation, I guess.
Right. So picking up the phone, yelling at the agent is probably not the answer.
No, I mean, it's not really going to help. Sure. The agent's there to help. Yeah. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People think, oh, well, the agent's out, just to make money and stuff. It's not about that. It's really not. I mean, agents, especially now more days than, that maybe they were in the past, it's more about retention, and keeping that customer relationship, it is the most important thing,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And that's one thing that I do, keeping my customers, with more options and stuff going down the road, because, one carrier might change, the way they do things now.
Right.
They might be a better fit for another carrier.
Sure. Sure.
I can just easily switch them up. I've already got that relationship.
That's good.
We already trust each other, so I'm there to help.
So you start talking about relationships, you're talking about, building trust. That's the key to the whole thing in business for me. Is I always want to be a person of integrity, a person of character. I want to have a community give back. I want to have all those things going on in my life, because if people can see me as someone, I always say you need a trusted advisor, you need someone you can trust. And I also say you should wear, comfortable shoes to make deals. I've got the OnClouds on today. No plug to OnCloud, but our camera and technical guy has on his OnClouds today. We're both dressed in Tennessee apparel today. We're from East Tennessee. We make no bones about it. We're just two good old East Tennessee boys. So tell me a little bit about, let's switch gears a little bit. We've talked about some of the technical stuff, and, we'll tell them how to get in touch with you if they need some more information here a little bit later, but let's talk a little bit about some personal stuff. I mean, when we're delving into what makes you a trustworthy guy, I mean, I know you, I know a little bit about your, about what you do, but tell others today a little bit about what drives you. Why are you trying to help people create generational wealth in investing and making sure they're properly protected, and make sure that you're someone that's a trusted advisor and a trusted source if they pick up the phone to call you. Tell us a little bit more about what you do in your community and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, You know what? One of the main reasons is, I know we live in a world, today where there's so much crime, there's so much hate and everything going on. It's hard for anyone to trust, people, if they don't know them, right?
Right.
And if I go back a few years ago, I was in that shoes. It's like, are all these people just out to get my money, or what do they have to get? So I was like, maybe if I can get on that side, I can kind of, try to ease in there and help people, understand that no, it's not all about that.
Sure.
But yeah, me myself, I mean, I'm a Sunday school teacher.
Okay.
That's one thing that I do. I'm big time in church and everything. I've also got family too. We've got 6 kids all together.
Mm-hmm. But that's fun.
Well, the thing about it is, we basically restarted a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the oldest one's 17.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 17, 16, and 12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 3 more at one time.
Sure.
Yeah. So they're 3 years old.
Play that a little bit.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about what that's like.
But see, I was
being a father of a triplet. This is the stuff people want to hear.
Yeah. I was actually a local truck driver at the time whenever they were born. And I was actually in the insurance industry or anything. But my wife had text messaged me while I was at work one day, and she said, "Well, I went to the ultrasound and everything. The babies are fine." And I was like, "Babies? Well, that's what I was like. Yeah, she's just messing with me,
Mm-hmm.
So I texted her back whenever I got stalked, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "They're good." She's like, "Yeah." I said, "When you say babies, that's plural." She's like, "Yeah." I'm thinking, okay, she's kind of messing with me, and I was expecting she's going to say something about twins or something like that. She said, "No, all 3 of them." I was like, "Oh, what?" And then she sent me a picture of the ultrasound.
Oh, wow. And
I was like, "Nah." I was like, I said, "I don't believe you." I said,
Sure.
This doctor has given you this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess for your husband. And so I didn't believe her for like 2 weeks. I thought she was trying to play a joke on me, and they had a sense of humor and everything. And, I guess it was 2 weeks later, I went with her to an appointment or something like that, or I don't know. But, 2 weeks later, I was like, well, okay, this was, this is real.
Right.
There's triplets coming, and
Sure.
That's, most people are not playing. They don't plan on one baby. I mean, you have 2 at one time. It's okay. It's a little bit on the
Mm-hmm.
crazier side, but 3 at one time. I'm like, you know what? We need to reach out to Discovery Channel or something like that.
Exactly.
Get us one of these TV shows.
You get your reality show, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, there's never a dull moment. But I will say though, we are a Christian family, and we were very blessed. A lot of times, when multiples are born, even twins, one of them will have to spend some kind of extra time at the hospital. In a lot of cases, maybe in the NICU or something. We're blessed. I mean, they were all born.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they had to, being triplets,
Mm-hmm.
medical reasons, they induced her, about a month early. So, 8 months, all together.
Sure.
But yeah, they were all healthy. None of them had to spend no time in the NICU. I mean, I think we was in and out of there in 4 or 5 days total.
That's great.
I mean, so yeah, Lord bless us on that,
Right. So, we like for folks to talk about their faith and things like that, and you say you're a Sunday school teacher. What age group do you teach with that? What is that?
Well, I mean, it's our church is kind of small.
Mm-hmm.
At one time it was the high school students,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's kind of more middle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you like to work with the youth in your community. Yeah. Why is that? I mean, tell me a little bit about why. I know why. I worked with youth for years, and I still work with youth now.
Yeah.
But explain why that's so important to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not just Sunday school. You talk about youth. I was a former coach of a bunch of youth sports and stuff, and we'll be again same as the triplets.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, anyways, I like to work with youth. Because here's the thing, they're the future. And really and truly, they're not really the future. They're actually the current.
They're the now.
Yes, they are the now. And especially that's what I say at church. When I'm talking to them, teaching these young ones, the right ways now is going to be what starts foundation and shapes and everything, there's so many people, in this world, who don't, well,
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just say.
I mean, I'm big time Christian, and, I know there's different, faiths and different religions and everything, but, there's so many people who, don't have that kind of faith religion.
Sure.
And they don't know what to believe, and you can see it whenever you're looking out on the street, all the crime.
Sure. There's a lot of kids out there today in this world that just, I mean, they need something. I mean, some kids get a hold of faith, and I mean, you chose faith. I've chosen faith. We've chosen our beliefs. I have good friends who are Muslim. I have good friends who are of many faiths. And the beauty of what we do is we don't discriminate against people when it comes to that. So what's amazing about all of what we do, though, is that, I mean, it's funny, we're here at a place called Foundation Mortgage, but I do believe in our society that we have to build foundations for kids. We have to give them, a structured system, a belief system of some sort, that they grow up in. I mean, we chose a specific faith, but when you're looking at, reaching out and coaching and mentoring, and, it's tough sometimes when you do just look at, I basically have turned off the news, but I mean, when you turn on the news and you see all these kids that are just, out there struggling, and you carry this thing, and, some people call it a burden, but you just carry, this desire to be like, man, I want to do something. I want to change people's lives. And the best way, I think, to teach integrity, honesty, and all those sort of things is to live it, to emulate that lifestyle for kids. And so, I mean, I know that it's tough being a dad, with lots of kids and lots of things going on. So I just want to say thank you for what you do in the community. I mean, that to me, that's important, for people to do that, because, so many people just want to look at us as business guys, man. Yeah. They just want to say, well, that guy right there, look at him, he's doing business and he's all this and that, but what happens a lot of times is they forget that we're real people.
Right.
So, I mean, today when we talk about being a real person in the business world, I mean, I was in a meeting the other night, and I think this is something you and I should discuss a little further for the future, but we were at a meeting the other night, and it was called Explosive Growth Conference, or, it was an event. And we went into the room, and we were all sitting down, and we're all business people, and we all have got business acumen, and we all got our, I was there to learn, what's the next thing I need to do to explode my business and grow it and scale my business and be more profitable. And what happened is it got twisted and turned. And that's why I like this part of the segment of the podcast, is because we can really talk about some of that. But, as a businessman, I mean, you find your foundation in your faith, and your give back. But as a family man, as a guy who's got a family and everything going on, what's something tough you've dealt with in life? You want to even talk about maybe a failure or something that you've had happen to you in your life that made you stronger and made you a better person?
Yeah, I mean,
anything that you like to share like that today?
I mean, when I first got in the business, it's kind of a business, but it's also, something to family as well. Right. When I first got into business and I first opened up my first insurance agency and stuff, on my own, it was a struggle. I mean, there was no income, Right. I'm like, I invested all this money,
Sure.
And, how am I going to keep feeding my family? What am I going to do for that?
Right.
And, I mean, logically, I couldn't see how it was going to work out, and it was my faith that, kept me afloat,
Right.
And, I believe whenever you have some kind of like thing like that coming against you, and hey, I've got all these kids and my family, a big family, they all, rely on me, I mean, my wife works too, so I'm not taking it away from her, but I mean, for that large of a family, it takes two to make it work.
Sure.
And so we're looking at this. Okay, well, what are we going to do? I mean, everything's like so tight right now. We, one thing, we do wrong, and we can be looking at facing bankruptcy or something like that.
Sure.
But and I believe it was my faith, that helped us come through that, because no other way possible logically would we have come through. Sure. So that's the scary part about starting a business when you first start it, and the failure is that, because it can really go into your family life and stuff as well.
Sure. So as a short-term rental investor, I mean, you're starting a business. We all have fears. We all have frustrations. We all have daily lives. We got family. We got things going on. The bills are still due. That's the thing about this is I think if people understand that we're all just real people, we're two guys sitting here talking. I mean, we're pretty well known in our industries, and for us, it's kind of like people just see what I call our highlight reels. They see us on social media, or they see us out in public with a smile on our face. We show up to an event and we're like, everybody's like, whatever. But what a lot of people don't realize is just because you take on, a new investment, you get a new property, everything's not going to all be rosy and clean. So I think it's important for us to know that and to be grounded and be grounded in our foundation of our, whether it's our faith or whether it's, character and integrity and that sort of thing. If somebody is, somebody's looking today, to get into the short-term rental industry from the insurance perspective, from a life perspective, what do you think they really need to be focused on today? If you could just give them one takeaway today, I know it's hard. I know it's frustrating. I know that building a business is not easy. So what encouragement or what takeaway would you give them today as we close this episode out?
I mean, they really need to do homework on the area, because, you do your homework on the area. You don't want to, I mean, if you're going for a vacation rental or something like that, you really want to look and make sure that it's in a vacation area instead of somewhere, 50 miles outside of that. What does the area have to offer? Is it going to bring some kind of traffic? That's the thing, and then I know the Airbnb type things. I know people do that too, and that's great, because there's a lot of people looking for housing right now, so if you're going to do some kind of Airbnb for some kind of short-term rental and stuff like that, you really want to, before you open up your home, because that's going to be a little bit of income. Maybe you're trying to offset something for some of the inflation that we're seeing, in the grocery stores or at the gas pumps or something like that. You really want to do a background check on that person. You want to make sure that you got the right coverage and stuff to protect that. Theft and vandalism is two of the biggest things you really want to make sure. I know you know that.
Sure, absolutely, yeah, sure.
Theft and vandalism, but the person that you're bringing into, any rental, you want to kind of do a little bit of background check. And I know it's hard if it's like a vacation rental. But
yeah, we do vetting for guests as well. Yeah, absolutely. So when you're talking about a long-term or mid-term stay, those can get into different tenancy laws and that sort of thing. If they go past 30 days, there's certain laws that kick into place there. But I think you're correct. I think you need to know the location. You need to know the occupancy rates. You need to know from a protection standpoint. I mean, I really believe that this is a conversation maybe bigger than any conversation that anyone has. To me, the foundation of everything I think that we do. That's why I wanted to have you on kind of early. Last week I had an investor on, but this week, I wanted to have you on kind of early in this conversation because I really believe that we've got to change the mindset of folks, because a lot of times people, I've seen people just go out and they don't do their due diligence. They don't ask a lot of questions. They just assume that, I'll just throw a policy on this thing and they'll be protected. And then all of a sudden you have what we had here several years ago with the fires and everything, and people had total losses, and some people lost things that they were building, like generational wealth they were building for their kids. It's gone. And you can go up there and look, there's still foundations standing up where we're from, where they're just sitting there because they do not have the money to rebuild. Not only did it affect the tourism and the lifestyle of people that work there, but it affected people who've been building these businesses for some of them 20, 30 years in their family. Some of them were second, third generation folks. But if they had taken the time in the very beginning as an investor to do their due diligence, to work with a good agent, to work with a good insurance agent, to work with a good title company, all these people that come together. And that's why I like having guys like you on, is because we all want to come together and work together and make sure that we've done the very best that we can for our clients. And so today, I think that's super important. The due diligence is super important, and doing your homework, getting the information right. So I think you brought a lot of good things to the table today. How can people find out where you are and a little bit more about how to get in touch with you if they'd like to reach out and just ask some general questions? You are licensed in the state of Tennessee or whatever, and then and your guys are around you. But if there's somebody listening nationwide, though, you can get them in touch with somebody, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
You tell us how you can get in touch with you.
Tennessee's my home state. It's where my residence license is. I have a non-residence license in Kentucky and North Carolina. So, I can help people out, in those states as well. And, I do have like a network of agents in other states, because there will be occasionally someone will reach out. Hey, can you help me? I live in Texas, or hey, I live in Florida, or something like that. I can't personally help you, but I do have some friends and stuff in the industry.
People you trust in the industry. Okay. Yeah.
I can point you in their direction, give you their contact information. But my business is called the Tennessee Insurance Network. Okay. You can find me online at www.tenninsnet.com. That's the website. Or you can reach out to me anytime, 865-316-9700. Now, story behind that. I chose that number because it's 316-316.
Okay.
316 is my thing.
Sure. Okay.
You can reach me at that phone number anytime. And, my business hours are simply, I'm available from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. like that through Saturday. Sure. I don't work on Sunday. Okay. You can leave me a voicemail. I'll get back to you on Monday. But, Sundays is a day that, I take with my family. We go to church, and have family time. But
that's good.
I'm always available, any of those times. I mean, I keep my laptop, my phone on me at all times. So, I've been known to actually, help my customer stuff out. Even if I'm like at an amusement park like Dollywood or something like that,
Sure.
call me. Hey, I got my laptop. I've sold policies there for them. I've, done endorsements. I've filed claims for them. I don't care. I mean, I'm available to help my customers and my clients.
Sure.
That's
why I like you. You're a lot like myself there. I'm pretty much available when my clients need me within reason. We still take time off and everything, but so I think they can also find you on Facebook. Al Munsey's your name again.
Yeah.
And we will definitely have more conversations, and I'm definitely sending business your way and that sort of thing. We don't endorse each other's products or anything. And again, we don't endorse a lot of products on here, but when you find someone you like and trust, you want to do business with them. And that's the key to the whole thing. And if you like Al and you got questions for Al, please reach out to him with the information he provided. But today, as we wrap this up, I mean, I believe we both agree that the foundation of everything that we do has to be, we have to be people that are trust and integrity and character. On top of that, I think ultimately we need to know our why of why we do things.
Oh,
and I think the biggest thing is as an investor, I think they don't sometimes think about their why. Some people are just like, let's just make some money. Let's just get some money rolling in. But the fact is that really your why to me is more important. And to me, what I say to that is I say that every day you should stay motivated, dream big, and remember your journey to success is always full of loving others, living joyously, and leaving a legacy. I want to thank you today for joining us on the Short Term Pro podcast. If you're interested in finding out more about me, I'm Vernon Corum. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a consultant, coach, all those things. But you can find me at shorttermpro.com, or you can find me on Facebook. Is probably the best place to find me right now. Working on the Instagram game. My coaches tell me a little bit I need to get a little more of my Instagram up and some more of my following there. So until next time, guys, be blessed and have a prosperous life.